My friend, the moment of truth has arrived in Buffalo. Amidst the quiet changes and behind-the-scenes decisions that almost no one has heard, the Bills' fate could be rewritten right now. Two names are already being touted as key to the season's success. A surprising prospect is gaining veteran strength to secure one of the last roster spots. And an unexpected move behind the scenes at training camp has fans scratching their heads. If you love the Bills, this is for sure. What's happening now could be decisive in our path to the Super Bowl. When the stakes are so high and the window for greatness so narrow, certain names begin to carry weight far beyond their stats. In Buffalo, two such names are emerging as quiet strategies for what could be a franchise-defining season: Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid. According to ESPN's Seth Walder, these two young recruits are the official X factors for the Buffalo Bills in 2025, and that title brings with it expectations that could shape the very outcome of the year. Let's not dwell on the story. Last season, no Buffalo wide receiver surpassed the 1,000-yard mark. Amari Cooper, who was signed to be a solution, turned out to be a bust, and now he's gone. In response, general manager Brandon Beane added veteran depth with Joshua Palmer and Elijah Moore, but neither is seen as a clear target. Instead, the burden, or the opportunity, has fallen second to wide receiver of the year Keon Coleman and third-year tight end Dalton Kincaid. For the Bills' offense to truly ascend in 2025, one or both need to rise to the occasion. Coleman showed promise as a Heat player, racking up 556 receiving passes in 13 games. But while he showed flashes of brilliance, big play ability, physical presence, contested receptions, consistency was elusive. Kincaid, a former first-round pick, faces his own challenges. Injuries cost him 4 games in 2024, and even on the field, he never became the nightmare fans expected. His 448 yards in 13 games and a projected 585 in 17 games fell short of Buffalo's expectations. That's why Walder's message is crystal clear. The Bills need at least one of them to take a big leap forward. Otherwise, Buffalo will have a glaring weakness at the pass catcher position. It's not just about numbers. It's about becoming reliable. Quarterback Josh Allen needs another reliable option, with Khalil Shakir entering 2025 as the newly extended WR1 and Palmer seen more as a guarantee for WR3 than a game changer. Buffalo's ceiling is directly tied to how long Coleman and Kincaid can develop their talent. Imagine what this offense could look like if Coleman becomes a true threat on the field and Kincaid evolves into the dynamic tight end he was drafted to be. Defenses need to be forced to pick their poison. Blitz Allen, he's met with disaster. Rebound in coverage, these two have carved out space underneath. Their development would not only make Allen's job easier, but it would also completely redefine Buffalo's experimental identity. And it's not as if Allen needs a superstar cast to shine. In 2024, despite lacking a 1,000-yard receiver, he still won the MVP trophy and led the team to an impressive 13-4 record. He did it with grit, improvisation, and sheer willpower. But what happens if he finally gets reliable, explosive production from his supporting cast? It could be the spark that shifts the score from contender to champion. That's why this story isn't just a subplot. It's the story. The growth of Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid could very well determine whether Buffalo finally reaches the AFC summit or if, once again, they end up here. And in a season where every game will feel like a playoff, their development will be showcased in a specific way. But while the future of veterans like Shaq Thompson remains uncertain, another name with a history of ups and downs is trying to write a new chapter in Buffalo, and his battle may be even more intense. While the spotlight shines on Buffalo's star receivers like Shakir, Coleman, and Samuel, in the shadows of the training camp battle, one name has quietly been gaining attention: Laviska Shenault Jr. And make no mistake, he's fighting with urgency, hunger, and a chip on his shoulder the size of Highmark Stadium. After alternating between troubled offenses and injury setbacks, Shenault's NFL career brought him to Orchard Park with a one-year, $1.21 million contract. The kind of contract that screams, "Prove it." But if you think he's just another practice squad athlete, think again. Shenault is no ordinary underdog. At 6'1" and 230 pounds, he brings a unique combination of size, physicality, and solidity that sets him apart. Last year, his offensive use with the Seahawks was limited, just 36 receiving yards in 11 games. But the real story was in the special moments. Shenault accumulated 459 kickoff return yards, averaged a stellar 28.7 yards, and even managed a touchdown. Add in 5 tackles in coverage units, and you have a football player who can do a little bit of everything. That kind of performance? It's pure gold when you're competing for a WR6 spot. In today's NFL, you don't expect your sixth receiver to be a game changer on offense. You expect him to be a Swiss Army knife. Someone who can block on the perimeter, return kicks under pressure, line up in multiple positions, cover points, and thrive in chaos. Shenault fits that bill perfectly. He lines up on both the wing and the slot, has run gadget plays and jet sweeps, and has proven he can take a beating and stay on his feet. He's exactly the kind of player who can steal a roster spot and get a good training camp and preseason. And let's not forget, this isn't an inexperienced Heat. Shenault has 121 receptions, 1,219 yards, and 5 touchdowns under his belt in the NFL, all coming from his first 2 seasons in Jacksonville. He led the Jaguars in receptions as a Heat player during a dismal 1-15 campaign, catching passes from a rotating trio of Gardner Minshew, Mike Glennon, and Jake Luton. The following year, in another dysfunctional Jaguars offense, he still finished second in receptions and yards, this time working with rookie quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Since then, it's been a difficult road. Injuries and ruined offensive schemes have limited his production in Carolina and Seattle. But even through the hardships, Shenault's brutal skill and football IQ have never faded. Now in Buffalo, a place where roles are earned, not given, he has a real chance to write a new chapter. The competition is fierce. Players like KJ Hamler, Tyrell Shavers, Jalen Virgil, and Christian Wilkerson have all competed for the same final spot. But most of them don't have Shenault's NFL production, special teams resume, or physical strength. If he continues to shine in training camp, breaking tackles, making tough catches, and handling return duties, there's a very real chance he'll force the coaching staff to keep him. And in a season like Buffalo, every inch matters. The differences between one championship contender and another are minimal. A missed block on special teams, a failed return, a WR who isn't ready when called upon. All of these can change a season. Shenault's ability to contribute in so many areas makes him more than just a backup. It makes him a reliable safety police in a high-stakes environment. That's why, while most fans are focused on the stars, the coaches are closely watching Shenault defend his position. Because when the final cuts come and the roster is trimmed to 53, it won't be surprising if Laviska's name is still on it. Not as a luxury, but as a necessity. And speaking of surprises, just when Shenault was at his best, the Bills front office made a roster move no one expected. A punter was released, a new tight end arrived, and a rookie defensive end was given the green light to return, and all of this happened while training camp was in full swing. Just days after the start of training camp, the Buffalo Bills made a sudden move that is already generating speculation. They released punter Jake Camarda and wide receiver Kelly Akarayi, names many believed would remain, to make room for tight end Matt Sokol and wideout David White Jr. A headline? Camarda's release. After the team released veteran Sam Martin, many assumed Camarda, a former Bucs draft pick signed in January, was the clear favorite for the punting spot. But with his departure, that role now falls to Brad Robbins, and Buffalo's punting situation is officially up in the air. Meanwhile, new defensive lineman Landon Jackson has been activated from the active PUP list. The young defender is now cleared to participate in practice, and coaches are eager to see what the explosive pass rusher can bring to an already strengthened defensive line, now featuring star Joey Bosa. These roster adjustments may seem insignificant, but in a moment as strong and robust as the 2025 Bills, every position matters, every decision is calculated, and every new face on the field is a chance to bring this franchise closer to finally overcoming the one obstacle that haunts them year after year, the Kansas City Chiefs. After 4 disappointing playoff losses, Buffalo enters 2025 not just with hope, but with urgency. With Josh Allen at his peak, an MVP in the saddle, and a renewed roster ready to fight, the question remains, will this finally be the year the Bills break through and win the long-awaited Super Bowl title? The answers are forming right now, with every on-field battle, every cut, and every game. So stay tuned, because the story of the 2025 Bills is just beginning, and it's already electrifying. With veterans being questioned, bets on discredited names, and unexpected decisions from the board, are we about to see a complete turnaround in the Bills roster before the season even starts? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. But I will be back later to update you with the latest news from the Buffalo Bills.